What up, guys? This is Casey Israel again, and I want to tell you some of the secrets how to get some of this stuff quick, like I do. I mean, some of this stuff I've been getting like that because I go to flea markets all the time, or I go to these retro video game stores, or these bunch of these stores that has not only video games, they sell DVDs, toys, and music stuff, and I hit those every week and weekend, and that's how I get some of this stuff. Like I guarantee, well, I would say the last I've been collecting over 20 years, but I say the last 10 years have really been hardcore, and I say pretty much even more, probably even more hardcore in the last 5 years, especially I would say especially in the last three, because ever since not only I moved back from Pennsylvania back to Oklahoma, uh, uh, this hobby kind of helped me cope through a bunch of the pain, not only losing my wife, but also lost my lost my dad, and it helps me kind of cope because it's a hobby I love doing. It gives me that, like, it's that thrill of the hunt. Still the coin of phrase from the Game Chasers, but see a bunch of these NES games in their boxes. I didn't get a bunch of these until I moved back to Oklahoma. I mean, shoot, like I think I only got one of these Neo Geo games off eBay. Well, actually, I think I got these for. I think maybe three of these I picked off in Oklahoma, one off eBay. I know I got that one off eBay. But then a bunch of this stuff, like, bunch of these games I got in Oklahoma. I mean, the only ones I for sure had picked up in Pennsylvania was Super Mario Brothers 3, Toxic Crusaders, not a lot, quite frankly. I mean, if I can try to find it, it's RC Pro Am somewhere. There it is down there. And a lot of those, only a few of them I had from Pennsylvania, but a lot of these, shit, I picked them up when I got back from Pennsylvania when I moved to Oklahoma. I mean, shoot, when I got here, first month, I found not only Mario Brothers, I found a bunch of the black box games. I was like, dude, oh, I found some of these in those boxes and a couple other ones as well, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. No, actually, no, I did not pick that one up until later. No, I just picked up a bunch. I think I wanted to pick that one up at Vintage Stock when they had a bunch of these box NES games. But it was to the point it was like I was running out of money and I still didn't have a job. I was like, you gotta hold back. But a lot of these boxes recently, I just pretty much, picked them up. Same thing with, like with Super Nintendo and the N64, and a bunch of these other box games I got. You know, the secret is if you already have them loose, go ahead and buy the box. And if you're going to do like I do, just sell your double. Or at least hold up a bunch of those doubles together, and then you can get something cool. Or, I mean, you can get a real expensive game for barely anything out of pocket. mean, a lot of times when I have a bunch of these Sega Genesis games, and up here, anytime I find a Sega Genesis game in this case and I know I got it loose, I'll just sell the one that's loose I have in collection. The same thing with Sega Master System. I just sell the loose copy and keep the box copy or the case copy. And one of the good things about retro games is some of these boxes are actually, I mean, we're beyond the Atari and television Coleco age now, but where a bunch of people moved on. They don't care about Intellivision games. They don't care about Coleco games. They don't care. They kind of care about the Atari. So, I mean, I got a bunch of these box Intellivision games for extremely cheap, like $2-3 a piece. And yes, I had a bunch of them loose up here, so I would turn around and sell the loose copies at a different store. I mean, and then same thing with these Atari games down here. And then, let's say I would pick some Super Nintendo games, and I would like the boxes. It's like, well, I'll just sell the doubles. I'll sell the loose copies. So, I know for sure what's luckily when these are Odyssey 2 games in their boxes. Most of these I actually did pick up in Pennsylvania in their boxes. There's a few I picked up here, but a bunch of them I did pick up in Pennsylvania. But, don't let these boxes actually intimidate you. Because when I first heard about people getting into box collecting, I thought, they're probably just going to be as worth as the game. Because let's just say how expensive this game is. You figure how rare the game is loose, it's even rarer to get the box. And sometimes, if you get lucky, and you see a lot of these stickers, don't mind them. I'm just too lazy to take these off the clear packages. But a lot of times, some of these shops, they'll work with you. Say, hey, I got this. Just tell them this. Hey, I got this game already loose, but I want the box. I just don't want the game. I'm like, can you separate them? And then they're like, well, no. I'm like, all right, here's the deal. I mean, I'm going to buy this game, and then I'm going to turn around and sell the loose copy. Like, why can't we just do this here and now? And usually that shit works. So, that's how inside 3 years, I got a bunch of these NES games boxed. And then let's go over here. I mean, let's talk about Xbox games. When I first moved from Oklahoma to Pennsylvania, something happened to my to my Xbox. I don't know if it just took a hard hit or something, or it just failed. Probably just failed. Goodness gracious. Something was bothering me now. I can hardly concentrate. And, one of the good things going to flea markets, some of these flea markets they have auctions. So when, my original Xbox that I bought from my best friend back in either 2001, 2002, sometime around there, when I moved to Pennsylvania, sometime like when me and my wife finally got our apartment, I was like, I'm gonna play some Xbox games. And I found out my Xbox was broken. And you know what? After later on, I bought two more other Xboxes, and it took three of them that me and my brother-in-law just Frankenstein one kind of working on. The disk drive was still a little hard time to open up, but that's beside the point. When my Xbox broke, I was like, well, I was kind of hoping the 360 was backward compatible, and it was somewhat backward compatible. I mean, it would play like the Halo games, but you had to have the hard drive to unlock it. But a bunch of these games didn't, so a bunch of these games I had to eventually sell off. So going to the flea markets, the auctions, if you know how to work the auction pretty well, if you keep the price low and hope for God that no one knows what's in there or cares about video games, you can get the games for cheap. I mean, and a bunch of these Xbox games I got for extremely cheap because of the auctions. I mean, there's some of them like Conker's Live and Reloaded, expensive game. There's another one. Another guy game, expensive. And I know there's another game. Trying to think of it. It Stubbs the zombie. I can't even spot it right now. But I just saw it. There it is. Stubbs the zombie, expensive game too for the Xbox. But right now they're starting to. Back in 2010s, early 2010s, these games were dirt ass cheap. A lot of times to get these games, you get the games, like right now, you can probably get the PS3, the 360 games extremely cheap. That's probably the best time to start collecting. And the Wii U games are getting cheaper too because, you know, people are buying Switch games. They're selling their Wii U stuff. So they're like, so right now, the time is if you want to get a collection going, like Xbox 360 and PS3 is time to do it. Because right now the PlayStation 1 is starting to go up. PS2's kind of starting to go up. Same thing with Xbox. 10 years ago, I'd be like, no, these are always going to be down. No. Well, eventually, I should have known back then that these would be going back up because these will be eventually be retro for kids. So, I mean, shoot. I mean, a bunch of these boxes I got later on in life. And, you know, like I was talking about, I've been collecting a bunch of Sega Genesis in their cases. I say 15 years ago, cases and loose Genesis games, it didn't matter one way or another. Now it's starting with the pricing. It'll be the exact same price if the game was loose, if it had its casing. Now it's getting to the point where, yeah, it's still common to come across some of these games that have their cases because people smart enough to keep the cases because they know there's not just normal. Like how you see some of these boxes. This is back in the day. You're like, oh, this is just packaging. You rip it open to get to the game. These cases, it's like, you know how Disney has those white clam cases that, you know, it's just no one else had. It kind of feels the same way for the Sega Genesis. And like, that's like if you have your disc games, why are you gonna get rid of the freaking the jewel cases and the cases when you can keep them more protected. I mean, like I said, I'm shocked how much of these NES game boxes were able to be saved. And same, all these other boxes as well. Same thing, something really old like these Odyssey 2 games. You figure these should be like long gone. Not a chance in hell to find these. But, if you go to flea markets, go video game stores, and some stores like Vintage Stocks and Second and Charles, you can find shit like this. I mean, shoot, like right now, I'm in love with these freaking mini arcade marquee signs. And if I didn't venture off to go to flea markets that I kind of deemed off for the last year or so, like I didn't see anything cool to see, because a lot of times I don't like those artsy fartsy bullshit at the flea markets. But every once in a while I'll give them a chance, and this one store kind of redeemed itself a little bit with having all these cool ass signs. And like eventually I'm gonna probably move these down, have a bunch of them going up that wall, and probably re-put some of those other marquees I had back up. But also I picked up a bunch of these signs right here, these posters at a flea market. I thought I'd be getting a bunch of these, but gosh, when I stumbled across those, I'm like, oh god. I moved on to that. I mean, but as I think I'm lucky for the stores I have, because I've been picking up some console boxes like the PlayStation 3 box, the Xbox One box, even some controller boxes for cheap, because he would get boxes all the time, and it's great wall art for him, and it's awesome wall art. I wish I could take a picture or video. I can probably take pictures of his boxes, and you guys can see why I'm like, and then you go flea marketing. I found one of these signs, like this Sega Genesis sign. I'm like, it's just like you find cool stuff like that. And then same thing at Vintage Stock. I picked up that Zelda Game & Watch. You just find a bunch of this cool stuff at flea markets. I mean, same thing, I found those casings right there, the whole games, and a bunch of these other stuff. Like, I also picked up those these box game consoles boxes. I mean, but yeah, you just gotta be smart with your money, and smart how when you get doubles. Like right now, I got a few doubles right now. I mean, sometimes, yeah, I make a mistake. I'm like, oh, I have the same game. I'm too lazy to sell it, return it. Like right now, look, I got these two. I knew I had them boxed. I mean, I knew I had them loose. So when I found the box, I'm like, sure, why not? But then you get a game like this where I wasn't 100% sure. I was pretty sure I didn't have it. That's why a lot of times I take pictures. But sometimes I just look at it. It's like, I don't think I have it. And I just didn't want to take forever to look at my pictures to see if I have it. So, I mean, that's what I do. Sometimes I just have a bag of trades. Be ready just in case I don't want to waste too much money to get cool games. So, yeah, my tips is you gotta, if you want to collect stuff like this, like what I got in here, is like, one, you gotta be patient. Don't give up if you strike out on a day or two, Eventually you'll get a hit. good hits. Either you come across a bunch of stuff or like, oh, gotta get this. I mean, it'd be a decent price. And if you stay persistent, you can also start building relationships with some of these stores and flea markets, and they're willing to work deals with you because they know you're a repeat customer. I mean, yeah, like I said, you go a bunch of these places and just you gotta stay on top of it if you want to do this. I mean, there are some stuff in the collection I got off eBay. I mean, like some stuff like my Famicom disc drive games I got off eBay, and obviously a bunch of my CDI games, because those are extremely uncommon to come by, to the point, like, if I'm to ever get any other CDI stuff, I had to go on eBay. And then the same thing with, there's a few systems like the Sega Pico games, and then I got over here the Fairchild Channel F games. Those are extremely uncommon games and systems to come by that you have to use eBay. But bunch of this other stuff, like you can find NES games, you can find Atari games, you can find Sega Genesis games, you can find all types of Sega stuff, you can find all types of Nintendo stuff, you can find all types of Xbox stuff and PlayStations, and then if you're lucky, you can find a seller who can sell a bunch of game boxes. Like some of the stuff, like you know, I've been collecting boxes as well. I mean, it's obvious I do too. So that's what I'm saying. You have to be persistent. You have to build relationships with these stores and vendors at flea markets. And you just gotta be smart to use your doubles. I mean, if you want to get box games, like I say, and if you have a loose games, you sell the loose copy to get to the box copy. So it's just smarter ways to do that. I mean, if I had to pay full price on everything, I would definitely wouldn't have a room like this. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I shouldn't have a room like this, but I just got lucky with a few things in life. I mean, in a few things, unfortunately, as well, but that's pretty much all I can think of. I just thought of, good ways. If you guys want any suggestions, like advice about how to get into this stuff, hit me up. Hit me up on Casey is Raw on Twitter, or even on the comments in here. I'll try to comment right back to you guys. If you need advice how to figure out how to find stuff like this, or, I mean, if I can find stuff like this, especially in Oklahoma, let's say, like, if you're in the Northeast, you can find this stuff a lot easier. And if you're in Texas, I think it's a little easier to find this than I do. I think if you're in the Northwest, definitely if you're in Portland, or Oregon, in the Seattle area. So, I guess the Seattle's in Washington, my bad. But, especially Seattle, because that's like the video game mecca, because you got Nintendo America up there. So, if you guys are in those really popular areas, I mean, they're easier to find stuff. I mean, shoot, like I always promote, if you're in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, maybe New York area, I highly suggest go to a bunch. No, go to this video game store called the Classic Game Junkie. That's like the ultimate game store. It's a small little store, but they have like outrageous stuff. Stuff like that's probably the only other place I ever saw that had CDI stuff. And that's how you know they take this shit serious. So, and they have reasonable prices on there. And I can't believe some of the stuff I see in what they have in that store. But yeah, I mean, thanks for watching. Let me rant off about this, but I just wanted to do a quick video. And I was bored. I figured why not. So, thanks for watching. Bye.